The first sign was not dramatic. A star on the orchard's rim flickered off rhythm, the way a sleeper's breath can hitch in a dream. Then another star misbehaved, its light going flatter, thinner, as if taste were being stripped from it. The var called it withering. The sables called it entropy surge class theta. Commander Tay called it a hunt. Whatever it was, it moved like a tide under the floorboards of reality, erasing small variances that living things use as footholds. The caretaker tried to compensate, turning mirrors, altering spectra, but every correction arrived a heartbeat too late, as if the withering were reading the moves from a page already written. Panic did not seize the orchard. It calcified into attention. The var sang coordinate changes into the mirrors. The sables fed contingency plans like grain into a mill. Tay's ships took knife-edged positions along probable approach vectors, hungry for a shape to fight. Hearthrunner had no guns. It had a garden. Mara asked the crew for ideas anyway. "Stories," June said finally, surprising himself. "What if we feed it patterns that don't resolve? Folktales, paradoxes, human improvisation, things that require listening." Perna looked doubtful. "We cannot jam entropy with bedtime." "Entropy is deaf," June answered, "but the thing steering it might not be." They asked the var for permission to try. The var hesitated. Their dignity was a thin shell around a wide fear. But the caretaker turned one mirror toward Hearthrunner's garden and warmed the cherry tree by 1/2 a degree. It was consent. They built a chorus. June gathered stories that don't teach answers so much as teach wonder. A fisherman who returns empty-handed because the lake is a mirror. A city that builds a tower inside a lullaby. A child who renames every star until the night forgets how to be dark. The crew read them aloud to the caretaker, not as code, but as cadence. The var wove in their own tales of binding storms with silk and loosening grief with heat. Tay added a brutal prayer from the Gar sieges, spare as bone. The sables contributed a logic puzzle that could not be solved without imagining friendship. They offered the chorus to the caretaker and asked it to listen as if it were a person in a doorway during the first snow. The withering reached Bower 3. The trellises creaked in a frequency that made teeth ache. Light thinned. A seed habitat shuddered. The caretaker moved mirrors in a pattern no one recognized, not defensive, not predictive, but exploratory, like a hand finding a pulse in the dark. It sent a ripple forward, braided from the chorus, and the ripple did something no correction had done. It made the withering hesitate. Where the ripple passed, the tide did not stop, but it stumbled, as if a hunter had heard for the first time that its prey could sing. The pause was slender, a breath between steps, but inside that breath, the var cut and retied 24 graviton anchors. Tay's ships herded the surge into a shaped corridor, and the sables burned their best algorithms like candles. The caretaker braided more stories into more ripples. It was not command. It was conversation at the edge of meaning. Hours or days later, the withering dimmed, receded and turned, hungry for a softer shore. The orchard sagged like a city after a storm, intact, scratched, alive. In the quiet that followed, the caretaker sent a private message to Hearthrunner. It was not in temperature or light. It was an image placed gently in each human mind. A winter window, a warm room, a hand knocking not with demand, but with hope. Under the image lay a question that tasted like gratitude trying to learn how to speak. Mara answered with a secret she had not told anyone, not even June, that as a child she used to whisper to the dark behind her curtains, telling it stories until it relaxed. She thought back, "You can knock. We will hear you." The cherry tree in the garden flexed a new bud.